All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Assemble. My name is High Ruler, and today we have a unexpected blog post by the team there, and kind of what this blog is talking about is obviously upcoming cosmetic and XP reworks, and obviously first and foremost, credit where credit's due. I've been kind of dogging on these guys for communication, and it really is seeming like they are starting to pick up on the communication aspect. So, with that being said, credit where credit's due to Crystal Dynamics here and putting out this blog. This was totally unexpected, and let's kind of see what this is diving into. I've read a little bit of it at work, but now I'm actually going to get a full chance here to kind of dig into it, draw out some thoughts. Yes, we're going to draw out some thoughts, and we'll kind of just get into it. So, let's do it. All right, so XP rework. Since we launched last September, our balance team has been evaluating the XP curve for leveling from 1 to 50 and will make some changes to address two core issues. The XP curve isn't really a curve at all. In most RPGs, the amount of XP you need to level up increases as you gain levels in a curve, but our system is a straight line. This has led to pacing issues, such as skill points currently being rewarded too fast, which may be confusing and overwhelming to newer players. We want each decision to invest in a skill or heroic to be more meaningful. Based on these issues, we'll be increasing the amount of XP needed to level up, starting from around level 25. This amount will increase the closer you get to level 50, so it will take longer to reach higher levels, and will only affect character level, not power level. If you already have level 50 characters, which is the current maximum, this won't affect you. If you have a character who isn't level 50 and want to speed up their progress, take this time to do so before the update on March 18th. Note, due to a bug we discovered, players could level characters at a blistering pace if they had multiple high-level characters. We intend to fix this issue once Clint arrives. Okay, so let's kind of talk about what I think about this overall. So, I think this is something that probably had to happen sooner rather than later. Obviously, if you do this and you have like a Spider-Man or Black Panther already in the game, I think the boat's already sailed. I think tying this to Clint as well as the next gen kind of relaunch of the game, right? This is kind of a relaunch of the game currently as it stands. I think this is to try and bring it more in line with their overall vision of the game is. I think it's really interesting when I read what they're saying here. Okay, so let's kind of break this down and we'll really talk about what they're saying. So they've said, and this has led to pacing issues such as skill points currently be rewarded too fast, which may be confusing and overwhelming to newer players. We want each decision to invest in a skill or heroic to be more meaningful. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, I would love to talk to a new player. The system, the character system with the skills is pretty in depth. Like, it's not a full Destiny 1 kind of system, but there is some depth to it, and it may be possible that they're right, that too much is being thrown at players too quickly when it comes to trying to just learn the systems at play. They could totally be right on that. I know there's the cynical side of it where, people are saying this is just them artificially increasing the grind to increase player numbers, to increase longer player activity. And there probably is a little bit of truth to that. But I definitely think it's not so much like they're just, trying to just hold you onto the game. I definitely think there's an element of they're just making this change now in preparation for new stuff to be added to the game. But let's talk about the leveling system and the linear and exponential growth that we're seeing. So, based on these issues, we'll be increasing the amount of XP needed to level up, starting from around level 25. It's interesting that they've picked level 25. Obviously, it's half of 50. I mean, that's the most obvious answer. But if I was a betting man, and I'm not, but if I was, I would peg level 25 to be around when the operation ends. I was thinking maybe 30 or 35, but for some reason I'm thinking around level 25, a linear growth pattern to 25, and then once your operation ends, then you start grinding for the last 25 levels. Part of me thinks that's the actual reason behind it, but I'm not 100%. So let's go over to my nice little paint drawing and we'll visualize what we're looking at here. So what I'm thinking of is we'll just call this OP, and we'll go, that's not where 1 is. 1's here, 25 is here, right? So this is, your operation leveling process, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And then once, kind of you're done your operation, the wheels, the training wheels are off the bike, Then it's okay, well, here's your grind, guys. So then it's exponential growth all the way there, right? And then this is your new 50. It obviously doesn't line up properly, but you know what I mean, right? Like the time it takes to get to 50 has increased at this point, right? We'll just put 50 there, sure. And that's what I think is happening. Is I think at 25 the operation is going to end, and then from 25 to 50 is where you're really going to have to find the perfect way to get as much XP as possible. It's a really going to be very interesting on the 18th to see who finds the most efficient way to grind from 25 to 50, because I have this weird feeling that is going to be a huge grind, right? And the reason I say that is because the one thing that they didn't tell us is what the XP changes are going to be between each level, right? So is 25 to 26 1%, 26 to 27 3%, 27 to 28 7%, or 6%? You know what I mean? Like, what is the scale, and how is that being moved during this change, right? um I definitely think it's going to take more than a day and a half to get to end level like the 50. I think there's another part of it that we need to consider, that this overall change is coinciding with what I believe is the next gen story relaunch, right? So what I'm thinking is that this is coinciding with campaign replay, sorry, I should say, or and people coming into the game for the first time, so that everything is just going to be kind of smoothened out. And I say smoothened out, but it's just like everything is going to come together to like work as like this new system. And one of the things is that I really feel like they want new players to be more engaged with the game. But here's the issue: to be engaged with the game and to go from 25 to 50, they have to make sure that there's content supporting that grind, right? um for new players, you go through the campaign. Maybe at the end of the campaign all your characters are level 25, and you're looking to level up Cap. Well, yeah, sure, I mean, there's enough there in the multiplayer side for someone who's just coming into the game to kind of go through that process. For myself, or for one of you guys who's been playing the game since September, we get Clint on the 18th, and we maybe we finish the operation, and under this hypothesis it's 25 at the end. What do we do at that point? Is it the same stuff that we've been doing? We know there's new villain sectors coming, right? So maybe that's part of it. Is there more coming to the 18th to support that 25 level grind? Or even, so say I'm wrong, say it's 35. Is there stuff to support that new grind with new content, or are we going back to the old content that we've already been doing? That'll be interesting to see what's going on with that too. But here's my final thoughts on the XP rework. I am tentatively okay with it right now. Okay, like I said, they're omitting the kind of the nitty gritty details of it, but until I get my hands on it, I can't really say if it's a bad or good change. It depends on the XP numbers between levels and how crazy that can go. I don't know if they're gonna go like the full. This is gonna take like a week to grind one character to 50, because obviously I think with this change coinciding with the next gen relaunch, they really do want newer players to be more engaged. But on the other hand, you got to make sure that newer players aren't feeling like it's going to take them, a week to then, get one character to level 50, and then you have to, gear them, and then, you rinse and repeat kind of situation, right? So there is going to be a delicate balance that they're going to have to fill here, and it's really going to be interesting to see how they fill them. But once again, obviously, where does the operations end for these new characters? Is it 25? And then what kind of content will we be doing? Is there any new content to support that? I'm gonna call it post operation or post story grind at that point, right? Because that it's gonna be really interesting. I'm unsure how many people are gonna like the implementation of this. I think the implementation is okay, but I don't know how much of the game will support the implementation on the 18th specifically. And it's going to be really interesting to see player reception to this change on the 18th, because this can go either very bad or very good. And maybe this is a long term fix with a short term hit. You know what I mean? Like, this is something they see as overall good as on the long term, but on the short term, with Clint and maybe not some, maybe we just have his operation and maybe some new villain sectors, but maybe the pace of 25 to 50, there might be some not good times ahead. I'm going to choose to go on the more positive side of this and thinking that they just don't want us leveling a character in a day, and it's not going to be too bad. It won't be too bad. I hope so. So yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with this change specifically. I think it'll be okay as more content gets rolled out. But I think the 18th may be a little rough. But I will say, here's what I will say. With them putting this out 2 weeks before the release of the DLC, I think they're open and receptive to feedback on this specifically. So I would definitely be interested to know how fast people are leveling. Maybe it's actually not that big of a deal. Maybe instead of you're gearing and leveling, or you're leveling and gearing all in one day. Maybe it takes you a day to level, and then the next day, you're then kind of gearing. I think one of the things that I have to keep into mind too is I reference Lejeune's tweet earlier where he was talking about getting Kate leveled and geared all in one day, but I have to remember that's not the average player. June is a monster of a player. There are a lot of you guys who are monsters of players, who can really nail down, what to do, when to do, how to do it very quickly. But the average person may just not know about that. So it's going to be really interesting how they balance the power users, I'm going to call them, versus like the average person who just wants to play a fun superhero game. But I will reference them saying that if even newer players are leveling too fast, then this might be interesting. I think there might be a way for like the power players to kind of level up quick, and the newer players to kind of be, still kind of just, frolicking through the fields is what I'll say with regards to this leveling change. So, yeah, there's a little bit here. What I will say as final thoughts is I'm tentatively okay with this as long as we see it work well on the 18th. Everyone's going to have a different threshold of what is good and what is bad when it comes to their time and they're getting out of their time. And it'll be really interesting to see, because I think it'll be a mixture of people are going to be okay with it and people are not going to be okay with it. And I definitely think there's going to be a little bit of butting heads between those two groups because of that. So, and I mean, like, that's always the case with these kind of games, right? Like, the people who stream for a living or make content for a living, or, maybe just people who have a lot of time in their hands, due to other reasons, are going to be able to level faster, gear faster, play at a higher level because they have more time, versus like, a single parent who has like a kid that, they're trying to juggle with a job, right? They may only get an hour or 2 hours a night. It's a really going to be an interesting change here and see how that works out. Yeah. I mean, man, yeah, it's definitely a change I wish they elaborated more on, and gave more details. But I do like them talking about it this early. I wish we had more details of the percentage change, and maybe some graphs, like, to compare. But I mean, I digress. Like, I mean, at face value, it's seemingly an okay change for the health of the game, but there needs to be content to support it, new content to support it with every character that launches, as well as the crazy, and I say crazy, but the exponential growth can't be out of hand. If you can satisfy both those things, I think a change like this works. Okay, so let's talk about the cosmetic rework now. So they say we'll be reworking how players obtain certain cosmetic items with the goal of providing more player agency and clarity about how to attain them by removing randomness from the process. Oh, I really like this. Okay, this is good. This is already good. Currently, many of these items are only obtainable through a random chance in Strongbox's or in Chastity's store, which is the cosmetic vendor, we want to make sure that when you earn a cosmetic item, it is something you've had a choice in working towards. This is good. The first step of this is to temporarily disable the random cosmetic item drops in preparation for the change. Players won't lose anything they have already earned. These items will be available again in places such as the cosmetic vendor once your store is reworked in future updates and will be purchasable with units. This will directly affect random chance cosmetic rewards from completing activities, missions, and strong boxes, and character progression, hero, and faction level. Numerous patterns will also be temporarily disabled from dropping and in some cases replaced with additional units that can be spent at the cosmetic vendor. The cosmetic vendor will still be open while we work on updating her functionality. The following outfits and nameplates will remain in the cosmetic vendor while her store undergoes the rework. Outfits: Black Widow's Dawn and Midnight, Captain America's Covert, Commando, and Freedom Fighter, Hulk's Shattered and Fractured, Iron Man's Midas and Gunmetal, Miss Marvel's Detailed and Crafted, Thor's Hard Hat, Kate Bishop's Private Eye and Heart. Nameplates: Black Widow 6 and 14, Captain America 6 and 10, Hulk 14 and 27, Iron Man 7 and 14, Miss Marvel 18 and 19, Thor 17 and 22, Kate Bishop 7 and 8. The following emotes, which were previously level up rewards, will be added to the cosmetic vendor on March 18th to allow for more selection during her time of limited wears. These are Black Widow Head Nod and Watch Me, Captain America Salute and Let's Go, Hulk Hey and Follow Me, Iron Man Over Here and Beacon, Miss Marvel Wave and Follow Me, Thor Hey There and You There, Kate Bishop's Hey and Beckon. Okay, let's get into what this means. This is really good. I really like the cosmetic rework here. Overall, I've always said that player agency is one of the biggest things in the game. Let people choose what to go after by engaging in the activities that provide them the best chances to get them. So, with that being said, all you really have to do now, so far, it looks like it's just get units and then take the units to Chastity, right? But we don't know what the second part of this is, as well as I think this is a part of their marketplace rework. I think this is going to work in tandem with their marketplace rework that Phil alluded to during last dev stream, because I really think that they're looking at how to take stuff that they have in the marketplace right now that maybe isn't so hot with the players, maybe some skins or some recolors, and they're going to look at how to incorporate those into the cosmetic vendor. But just right off the bat, I think being able to kind of give players more choices and clarity, and removing the randomness of everything to do with, getting skins and whatever else from the game is really good. I mean, like, this is like the first part. The second part, if they stick the landing on the second part, it'll make this first part look like geniuses, and they'll look like geniuses to this. So the cosmetic rework, guys, I think is probably a great change. And I would imagine the second part will coincide with their marketplace changes that they're gonna probably unveil whenever that's ready. But honestly, I think in any sort of game like this, when you have the ability to kind of choose what you're going after and then work towards that goal, this case being, you get units and then you take the units and you get, whatever you want, the outfit or whatever, right? I think being able to have that option is really good, and it's really rewarding for players instead of worrying about randomness and random drops and, the unfulfilling factor of you not getting what exactly you want, and you put so much time into the game. So this is a really good change, and I'm happy that they're doing this. This is a really good change, guys. This is really good. So yeah, honestly, Crystal Dynamics, Andy, if you watch this, this is a really good change right here. Out of the two that I've seen so far between the XP rework and the cosmetic, in terms of the XP is just kind of a sum it up, end the video kind of situation. I need to see more about the XP rework, and I need to see how it works in live action before I'm able to say whether I like it or don't like it. I think if I had to choose like some words to describe, I'm tentatively okay with it. This definitely seemingly is something they probably had to do sooner or later. So they chose sooner, and it will probably coincide with what is the next gen relaunch. So I'll have more to say probably on the 19th, after I've played Clint and, I've tried to level him and, kind of where I'm at with him after so many hours of playing, just like you guys all will, right? So, tentatively okay with this, gonna have to wait and see. like I said, it totally depends on the content that's provided, um, as well as the level increases between each level, and how high it goes. Like it will totally depend on the incline of it, and how crazy it is. But I'm gonna keep an open mind with this, and I'm just gonna wait and see how they do it. I'm not gonna say it's trash or say it's amazing. I think I'm tentatively okay as long as the implementation of it is good and they stick the landing on it. But I'm going to keep an open mind on it. The cosmetic rework is really good. I think this is a really good first step in addressing some of the issues when it comes to RNG, when it comes to outfits and so on and so forth. I think them understanding that giving the player a choice and the ability to go after what they want, I think is one of the best things that you can do in a game like this. And I think them addressing this, as long as the other part of it is good, when it comes to the rework of Chastity and how they're going to do that. I like the functionality of her. I think as long as they stick that landing, I think it'll be an update that people really really look back on and say this was a really good update. So let's read the rest of this now and see what we got. Finally, we want to give players more immediate reward for activating Hawkeye's challenge cards, so we moved an outfit to the first slot of the activated path. Ooh, I wonder what that one's going to be. With these changes, Marvel's Avengers will be a more balanced experience overall. We'll let everyone know when the cosmetic vendor rework is coming, but in the meantime, if there are items you wish to receive in the current fashion, you should do so before March 18th. Until then, we'll have more information on replaying the Reassemble campaign and updates to the Harm Room in the near future. This, to me, guys, says that these are coming on the 18th. I would be very surprised if at least the Reassemble campaign replay is not coming on the 18th. It totally makes sense from an optics standpoint that on a next gen relaunch you launch your campaign replay. And I would imagine we'll probably get more if that holds true. I would imagine we get more information on the next week. I mean, hell, we could get more information, today in a weekly blog or a dev stream. But I would bet that if that is coming on the 18th, we get more information next week. The Harm Room one is a little different, only because it's still tied to Intel, but maybe it was supposed to. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, if you guys follow Miller pointed out that one of he said intertitles or whatever. I don't know what that means. He's way smarter than I am when it comes to the film stuff. But basically, there was some text missing, so it does point out that maybe it was incomplete, which maybe that was something that was supposed to kind of go live next week, maybe. But I'm not sure about the Harm Room stuff, only because it's not directly a Crystal Dynamics thing. It is an Intel thing to announce, which is, to me, once again, crazy and nuts. But yeah, guys, you know what? Overall, these are good updates. This is good communication by the team. I really appreciate them coming out. Obviously, like I said, if I had to nitpick on the XP rework, a little more detail of the XP changes, maybe a graph just to show. But once again, it will be something that we'll have to see implemented on the 18th to really get a full idea and the full idea of the picture that it's trying to paint for us. But yeah, obviously, guys, this is it for the video today. Thank you guys so much, and I really do appreciate you guys hanging out and checking this out. I will be doing a video again today for the weekly blog. So if you haven't seen a weekly blog before, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And we got some cool things coming, Assemble related, that I'm going to start announcing soon. So sit tight, get excited, and once again, thank you guys for all your support. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.